Guys, it's Jozy again, back again with another video, right? And today I'm actually going to do more of a bit of a rant, or not a rant, but like essentially one thing that I see kill a lot of agency owners. Predominantly, some of them are even my clients, and some of them are like they come to me with this big problem, and I can see it stemming from this one decision that they're making, right? So if you're an agency owner, right, and you're struggling to scale, there's some could be a very high likelihood that you're doing the same mistake as well. Okay. Now, if you don't know how, my name is Jozy. Josiah, people just call me Jozy. I scaled my agency from 0 to 50K a month in another 30 days. Now I'm helping other agency owners do the same thing. Right. And today I'm literally going to be covering this one mistake that I see literally 80 to 90% of agency owners do. And this is the reason that they can't scale. And even if they can scale, this is the reason that they have a rubbish profit margins, anything from 10 to 15%. And yeah, they have revenue, but they're not taking anything home. So watch this to the end, because the last reason for this, or this mistake, or the last effect of this mistake, is literally the one that kills majority of, some of them may even be my clients, but majority of the agency owners today. Okay. Now, the first thing I'm going to say is what the problem is. All right. Now, the problem comes from one thing, and it's crazy: multiple niches, right? Now, why this is such a big problem, there's actually three reasons why, the big three reasons. But just think about it, right? You're running a business, and I think there's a phrase: the person that tries to catch two rabbits end up catching none, right? And that's the same thing in the agency world. But the agency world, it's a bit more kind of like shiny object syndrome. It's a bit more glamorized. For example, you may have three or four people coming to you, and one may be in the plumbing niche, one may be in the electric niche, one may be a bloody, I don't know, construction worker, and they all want to give you money, right? They all want you to help them out with the marketing. They all want you to get leads. They all want to get XYZ, right? And now you being a new guy in the agency space or scaling agency, like, why not? It's like, it's money at the end of the day, right? But you don't realize that money comes with the baggage. That money comes with essentially delivery. That money comes with sales. That money comes with expectation. That money comes with different industries as well. And it's very hard for you to deliver for, let's say, three or four different industries at the same time, when it's even hard, when at the same time, it's even hard to just deliver for one industry, right? Let alone three or four at the same time, right? There's so many like $1 million agencies that's just stuck to one niche for 5 to 7 years, right? And at this time, they're still trying to optimize, right? And they've been there for 7 years. So what makes you think that if you go to a niche for 1 or 2 months or 3 months, you're gonna, off the bat, like understand the whole niche, get killer campaigns, and essentially bring them results, right? And that's the main problem that keeps people stuck, right? Because they're dealing with so many niches, their offer is so broad. It's so broad, right? And it's so hard for them to make sales, because essentially every single sales call is different, because you have to have different pain points, you have to have different problems, you have different things to say on the pitch, right? And the offer is different. So every single call has to be essentially a new call, making it very hard for you to get out of the sales, or make it very hard for you to even sell, because in sales you have to be present. So if you're always thinking like, well, I'm going to say X, Y, this is a new problem, I never heard this before, it's very hard for you to be present on the call, active listen, handle objections, or even, to be honest, actually close the sale, because this is a new territory, right? And that's what you see a lot with like players when they especially in football, if you're American, call it soccer. Um, when players play away, right, they have such a harder time than playing at home, right? Because they're in a different environment. The same thing in sales. If you're in a different industry, right, they're gonna come with you with different ways of talking, right? Different things may be normal in that industry, which and could be complete opposite in my industry. So you sticking to multiple niche is just gonna make your life so much harder, right? Because even with this, you're gonna have two sales process, two ways of onboarding, two ways of delivering, two ways XYZ. It's just, you've just basically just doubled the operational complexity of your business by making this one choice. So that was number one, making sales harder, right? The next thing is delivery. Okay. Now, delivering for one niche is hard enough, guys. A lot of people say sales is hard, X, Y, Z, but guys, majority of the agency's game is to deliver and actually keep the clients on, because the people that can keep the clients on tend to have a higher LTV, meaning they can spend more to acquire the same client, right? Because the client just sticks on for way longer, right? and you don't have any chargeback refunds, etc., which no one likes. Okay, so the next thing is delivery. So the biggest thing, I had a client as well who came to me and was like, I'm having delivery problems, Josiah, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. Like, what's happened with the niche? She was like, yeah, is this my first time working with, like, let's say this training company, and they do training for other people. And I'm like, okay, this is your first time working for a training company, but don't you have like case studies in other companies, like other industries, like a consultant? He's like, yeah, I know, but I just wanted to test this guy out, right? And I'm like, okay, but this guy that you took money from, right? And of course, everyone's trying to be rich at the end of the day. The guy they took money from is giving you like 80% of your problems, and the guy that you already killed it for is not giving you any of the problems, right? So instead of like trying to make a new delivery process or trying to find out a new offer for this guy, why don't we go to the first guy, copy and paste what worked for him, and just find another person like him, right? And that's how companies scale, right? Because let's say Gymless, for example, they already work. I think it was with like the local gyms, right? And some gyms they didn't even work with, like yoga, Pilates classes, stuff like that. They didn't even work with until they're already a multi-million dollars in terms of revenue, right? So what makes you think that because you've already got it for one guy, it gives you kind of the permission to go to another niche and try again, right? Because hey, like you may have just been fluky with the other person, so it may just been a fluke. So not until you've been in that niche, you've ate shit from that niche, and you've literally just tried testing and testing and testing, and you've actually got something that's proven, something that is 5, 10, or like 20 customers go through it. 80% of them are going to have the similar results. Okay, and that's how you scale it out and get yourself out of delivery, because you know the process are proven. Whereas if you work with so many different niches, yes, the underlying principle of marketing is the same, you could say. The nuance is what get the results, right? It's that nuance type of marketing, right? And also, it's so much harder to get yourself out of, because for every client, you're basically starting from day zero, right? Whereas if I just work, like for me, we only worked in the marketing agency niche, and we only worked with performance marketing agencies, predominantly like SEO paid ads. We already knew their offers are going to work. We already knew their offers. I already knew like the back of the head what to say, what not to say, etc. So when we got another client, I was so confident, right? I was so confident in the delivery, and this also transferred in the sales process as well. So a lot of you people are not closing sale, not because you have a bad script, not because you don't have an objection, it's because you have zero conviction in what you're saying, right? The prospect knows you're using a lot of ums, arms, maybe, probably, things like that in your sales, because you're not confident in your delivery, because you've worked with 3 or 4 clients that are in the same niche, right? And you've burnt them, right? Because you're literally putting in too many eggs in too many different baskets, right? And now you're traumatized because of it, and it shows through all of your sales goals. And literally, having this problem is why literally majority of the agencies, even if they're skill, let's say even talking about skill, right? Let's say you're skill, let's say you're like, all right, Josiah, cool, I don't listen to you, I don't like you, etc. Cool. You pick up multiple niches, right? Different people, and some, let's say you get mediocre results, right? But now you need to train another person for that niche and for that multiple niche. So you might have to get someone that is a bit more experienced in a few niches, right? And they're gonna charge an arm and a leg, right? So now that eats into your profit margins, right? But as you skill, this skills as well, because essentially the more clients you get, the more of the skilled labor work that you need to get. So that's why you might get to, let's say, even 50 or even 100K, but you're only taking them 10K. Whereas, let's say another guy down the road is doing 50K a month, right? And taking him 80 to 70% of that, because he's stuck to one niche, temptize all of his delivery, have just 1 to 2 medium to low scale people running the delivery for him, right? And actually enjoying his life. And that's where the changes in terms of lifestyle, agency, things like that comes, is when you have just one thing to focus on. Because if you just work on delivery every single day for one niche, every single day, just that one delivery, there's no way in hell in the next 10 or even let's say even 10 months, right, that you could not be number one in that specific category, right? And a lot of people are literally shooting themselves in the foot because they can't say no to money. Because this is literally just comes from saying no, right? And it should, like, moral obligation. If you cannot help the person in the sales calls, right, tell them no, because at the end of the day, they're giving you money, they're trusting you, and if you can't help them, you're not the right person. You have to take that pill and just swallow it, right? Whereas if you're hesitant, you want to say no to everything, you're basically just burning people, and it's going to hit back in your reputation down the line, etc. So guys, take this like to the grave. Stick to one niche, and as soon as you have that to one niche, then perhaps down the line you can maybe go to a sub niche. Let's say let's say e-commerce, you go from sporting goods to maybe apparel brands, right? It's still in the e-commerce space, but it's just another sub niche, right? And that's how you get that compounding effect, because essentially you work in one niche means that all the work that you do, you can leverage and it compounds on itself, right? So let's say you got a case study, boom, that case study can be shown to people in the same niche and it's going to resonate better. But if you're trying to show an e-com case study to a bloody electrician, they're going to be like, come on, man, like that's not what I do, right? And that's what essentially is. So first one is sales, then also is delivery. And then the other thing, it's I've mentioned this before, it's essentially getting yourself out, okay? Because the simpler your business is, the quicker let's say the quicker it is for you to get yourself out of the business, right? So you can work on the business rather in the business. The more complex it is, the more you need to be in the business, right? That's why a lot of people are, or a lot of like shop owners are still in their shop or still in their cafe, because the cafe is a pretty much complex business to run. The majority of the time, it requires loads of, you need to be there, you need to be X, Y, Z, and that's why a lot of them are still in the business. And the same thing happens in the agencies. If people are doing Facebook, SEO, a full service agency, and they're working with so many different niches at the same time, it's very operationally heavy. It's like fat. It's like operationally obese agency, and it's going to require lots of staff. It's going to require lots of training. It's going to require lots of manpower to essentially keep it running and maintain it. Whereas, let's say if I think Ravi Wabala, right, was already doing Facebook ads, was already doing it for real estate agents, he managed to scale to 100, 200K a month with just one VA. We managed to scale to 50K a month with just 2 employees as well. So it was like of course we can scale to these numbers because we keep things simple, right? And a lot of things in the business, you're just keeping it simple, because simple scales, complex fails, right? And that's what you need to understand. In order to get to the next level is, how can I simplify this and remove things and make it just so simple that I can give it to a team member and you can just execute, give you that peace of mind, so then you can focus on other things in the business and scale, right? So if you're working multiple niche, reassess yourself. Ask yourself which is the best, like which is the best niche for me to work with, which niche do I enjoy working with, which niche are getting the best results, and which niche are paying the most. It's all about that mullah, right? So once you've identified them, double down, go into that niche and literally just put the blinders on and just focus on that for the next year. Okay? Because trust me, guys, just 1 year niche, you're going to be successful. You're literally going to be successful. Okay? So that's the main thing. If you need help, of course, scaling your agency, going to what figures you want to go, let's say 50K or 100K a month, let us know. There's a link in the description for us to book a call and to have a chat. Other than that, if you enjoy the content, subscribe, like, share, do whatever you need to show some love. And yeah, that's all it for me today. And I'll catch you in the next one. Take care. Bye.